Shalom, today's the 19th of April. I want to discuss today's topic, which is James 4 verse 11 and 12. And the main line I want to touch on is, you rejoice in your boastings. It's all about thinking about tomorrow, what I will do tomorrow, and I will go to the city, and I will do this, and I will acquire that, and it's all about preempting. Now, when you just look at the verse itself, it doesn't really make sense why James is addressing that, but because we all do it. I'm going to do this tomorrow, I'm going to do this weekend, I'm planning a holiday, I do this, I do that. But then James goes to say is, we need to add, if it is Yahweh's will, I will do this. If it's Yahweh's will, I will do that. Just to acknowledge that your life is not in your own control. You can't really claim something driven by your own means and your own abilities. It's always depending upon Yahweh's will. Now, Yahweh's will, it seems like He's taking away free will when you look at it that way. But it's not about taking away your free will. It's about acknowledging Him, that His hand is part of your life. His hand is directing your life, and you acknowledge that. People in the world, they don't acknowledge that, and they just flat out go and say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I've got a lot of money, I can do that. And they sort of trust in themselves rather than trusting in Yahweh. And that's a subtle difference. So it's not bad to make a plan, it's not bad to plan your week or your weekend, but you should always take into account that Yahweh is in control. Now, the word boastings comes from the base word palatson, that means boaster and empty pretender. Now, there's a song, I'm the Great Pretender. I think Elvis sang that song. And it's all about acting. It's all about pretending, making something out which is not true, and elevating yourself in public to someone that you're not. Now, the social media networks, they give people the ability to do just that. We create a profile, it's an edited photo, I Photoshop out the wrinkles, I make myself a bit more skinny, more, looking a bit more buff, or whatever the case might be. So I'm pretending to be someone that I'm not. And you basically elevate yourself to that state. The other thing is that people sitting behind this little cyber window, they're very brave and very outspoken and all that, and they're normally not like that in real life. They get this false confidence whenever they're behind the screen, poking other people and taking out others and belittling them or whatever they do. And that's basically what this chapter is about, is not to speak evil of your brother and sister, or anyone for that matter, and not to boast in yourself, not to make out that you're this great person, but you're actually not. It's rather being a sinner, like the poor man who beat his chest and say, have mercy upon me, in comparison with the Pharisees who pray in public and have this facade of holiness, and the one who acknowledge humbly that they are a sinner, they're just a normal person, they've got struggles, they've got real issues they struggle with, they don't have everything together like the Pharisees or these plastic people pretend to have and pretend to be. Yahweh wants us to humble ourselves, to be our true selves, not to be someone we're not. Now, this word rejoice in your boastings. That boastings means bragging. It's also linked to the meaning pride. Now, we already spoke about Yahweh resisting the proud. It take away their position of authority within the kingdom if they do that. Now, if there's little nuances in your life where you tend to boast in yourself and rejoice in your abilities and the stuff you have. A lot of people have parties or have people over, and it's just to brag about their stuff. Oh, you look at all these lovely places. You've been to this country and that country and that country, and it's all about me and my travels and all that. That's not a real person. That's just money. You had money to go there. It doesn't say anything about you other than that you have money. So don't do that. Now, this is in line with what's in Proverbs 3 verse 5 that says, trust in Yahweh. And that word trust means to seek refuge and to have hope in Him. Now, to seek refuge is similar to what we read in Psalm 94 that says we need to hide under His wings, under the covering of His wings. It's all about knowing who your protector is, knowing who you are, and know where your protection and your provision and your abilities come from. It's nothing to do with you. Or every single ability you have is a gift that comes from Yahweh. And everything you receive in this life is a gift that comes from Yahweh, whether it's the ability to have a good job, to have a house, to have a car, have a good family. Everything comes from Yahweh. The Psalm 46 verse 10 says, be still and know that I am Elohim. And then he also said that He will be elevated through the nations, and He will be elevated in the whole world. So that basically is in line with the phrase we read when Lucifer elevated himself. I will be above the most. I will be elevated above the nations. So in this Psalm 46, it sounds like Yahweh is taking back His authority, taking back the status of victory, that He will be the exalted one, and the opposer is now being pushed out of that position of victory and glory. So be still is the word Rapha, and Rapha means to let go, to withdraw, and to sink. So that's meanings, those are meanings that's similar to humble yourself, to withdraw from this false pretense, this facade you're trying to maintain. It's hard work to maintain a false image. It takes a lot of time and money. And a lot of people spend all their money on their image. And Facebook and those places give you the means to have a life like a celebrity, and everybody follow you, and Instagram and all that, and you're so wonderful and pretty and beautiful. It's not about that. That's not real life. That's not really you. You might be lonely, sitting behind your computer with your phone in your hand, and you need to let go from that false image, that false facade that you're trying to maintain. So that's just a few words I want to share today. And so I will share the study on Friday. This was the last verse, so I will see you all Friday then, Friday evening. Shalom.